Anin Bojo Kanawea, Mr. McLeod Mondiamina, Bajinaka Queen Ween Monim. I just want to let you guys know that links to the dictionary, PDFs to the worksheet, audio files are in links in the description of this video, as well as any other resources that'll help you out with this lesson will eventually be there as soon as I'm done making them. Aho, miigwech.
Anin Bojo, Mr. McLeod Mondaya. And so today's lesson is on Nipissing Nishnaabemwin relative roots. So we're learning how to be specific in Nipissing Nishnaabemwin. So what are relative roots? So here's the sign to write down everything you see on the slide here in your notes. This image right here. So relative roots are how we talk about specifics in Nishnaabemwin. So relative roots can refer to manner, location in relation to from, towards, or place, quantity, number of times, and the degree. So relative roots often take form of prefixes. And when present, relative roots change our B form grammar patterns to C form grammar patterns. So that's B form with initial change. We'll give you a chance to write everything down in your notes from this slide. Pause the video here before moving on. Alright, let's move on. So some of our relative roots have a particle form. A particle form is where a relative root can be used as an independent word, separated from our usual verb phrases, whereas other root words can't stand on their own as independent words. If you'll remember from our morphemes lesson on root words, we said that root words can't stand on their own independently. Usually, relative roots are the exceptions to that. Sometimes relative roots can be built right into the word, and sometimes they're hidden in a word so well it's really difficult to perceive them. So here I've indicated the points for you to write down in your notes. Pause the video here before moving on. Alright, let's move on. So what are relative roots? So the following are relative roots most dialects use, and Nipissing does use some of these, but a few are different. So for example, we have ije, as in its prefix kind of form, and in for its root, kind of like its root word form. And its changed version is eje or en. When this relative root is used, we incorporate the translations either how, the manner, towards a certain direction, and it can also be used as a command softener. Next is unje or und, and its changed form is either wenje, enje, or end, depending on the context. So when unje is used, it can mean the reason why something is happening from a certain direction, and can also mean for, F-O-R. Next we have dasa, and its changed form is endasa, or sometimes you might hear as ensa, and its meaning refers to number so many times, and sometimes it means every time. Next, we have apiche, which can mean the degree, the extent, so much, and can also be used for comparisons. Next is aku, and its changed form is eku. It can mean since, length, times, can also mean usually or used to. Next we have daje, and its changed form is endaje, and this means like the place of, so where something is occurring. So what are the Nipissing dialect relative roots? So again here I have the image to write down everything from this slide in your notes. So the following are the relative roots for Nipissing uses. So we have j or n sound, and its changed form eje or n, and it too also means how, the manner something's happening towards a certain direction, and can also be used as a command softener. We have nj or nd, with its changed form as wenje, enje, or end, and this can mean the reason, why, from a certain direction, and also for. We have nsid, and its changed version is ensid and ensa. So this also means the number so many times and every time. You'll notice that ensa is underlined and every time is underlined. So anytime you hear ensa in Nipissing, it means every time. Alright, we'll give you a chance here to record these in your notes before moving on. Pause the video here. Alright, let's move on. Next we have, instead of a piche, we have piche or peat. And then its changed form is epiche or epit. And this also means the degree, extent, so much, and can also be used for comparison. Next we have ku, and its changed for form or C form is eku. And again, this means since, length, times, and can also mean usually or used to. Next we have che instead of daje. And so its changed form is enche, and this means the place of. So again, we'll give you a chance here to pause and write these down in your notes before moving on. Alright, let's move on. So, je for how, manner, towards, certain direction, command softener. This is how we can use je to express all these different things. These different functions. So in a prefix version, we have ketin gijem geshin anenem kwaming. So the man fell really hard on the ice. So we have ketin for hard or vigorous, and je geshin is talking about how he fell. And then man on the ice. So this is how we can use je for expressing how something happened or the manner to which it happened. Next, another prefix version, bibis gijmodem tigun. So the baby crawled towards the tree. So we have bibis, baby, gi past tense, je, towards, bmode, he or she's crawling, and tigung. So the way to tell the difference here is ketin can be attributed to falling, how they fell. It's a hard fall. But without ketin, you could interpret this as the man fell towards the ice. And so we don't have any words, adverbs, for our verb here. So for this translation, it's understood that the baby's crawling towards the tree. Next one, we have it in root word, indej. So when you say indej, that ish part means how. So when you say indej, you're saying blank is how I am called. And so that's the how or manner. And this is used in A form as well. You can use in B form, C form, whatever. The two other versions were in A form, though. And then as a prefix, we can also use je as a command softener. So we got mi goje we snin, why don't you eat? So we know we sni, he or she's eating. The N is a command, an imperative. But when you have mi go and then a je, mi goje we snin, it softens the command, so you're not as pushy about it. You're kind of suggesting like why don't you eat? And so that's how we can use it as a command softener. Use je in conjunction with your imperatives. Next, nje for reason, why, from a certain place, and for. So for a prefix, we have nimush gin jib mod gasanin. So we have nimush, that's the dog. Gi is past tense. Nje from modge, swimming. Sining, rock. So because we just have our noun, verb, and then our locative, it's talking about the dog swimming from the rock. And so that's when nje means from something, when you have that locative there as well. Next, we have it as a prefix, onde wenje wisni yan. And so our grammar pattern onde for where is onde plus be form. So the yan is the you, wisne is the verb. And then because we have a relative root here, it becomes C form. So onde wenje wisni yan. Wenje in this context could mean why or where. So where are you eating? But we've translated as why are you eating. Next, we have it in root words. So, onde wenje bayan, where are you from? So that wenje is referring to where. Onde, general question word. Yan is you. And then you could say blank or whatever. My example, Nipissing in Don Jaba. So I am from Nipissing. So that nje is referring to from. Next, we have particle form for nje. So this is taken from one of our Nipissing band office booklets. I noticed that in there, the speakers had used nje as a particle for for. So we got indon sidod winan sa gajemnado kinagego miguewin nje sa mtukmikwe. So that means we acknowledge the Creator for the gifts of Mother Earth. And so here we can see that the speakers have translated nje as for. So when you're using nje in its particle form, you're using it to mean for something or for someone. Next, we have nsid for number, so many times or every time. So in a prefix, we have ondem nik and sidbon is yan. And so that means how many winters are you? It's referring to age. So onde is our general question word. Nik refers to amount. And then nsid, the specific number. Bon, winter. And then yan is you. So ondem nik nsid bon is yan. How old or how many winters are you? And so we're looking for a specific number, which is why we use nsid, one number. Here's another prefix used for it. Nsimdana and don sidbon is. So that means I'm 30 winters old or 30 years old. Nsimdana 30. Ndo is our extended pronoun for I am. Nsid is the specific number. Bon, winters. Next, we have a prefix, and so this is when you use enso. So enso wisnian means every time I eat. So this is in C form here. And so remember, every time you hear ensa, it means every or every time. And then here is an example in root word. So again, we have nshwaso and sidokade. She or he has 8 legs. So if you use a number first, when it's not attached to a verb, you use your relative root nsid as a root word. Next, we have piche, which can mean the degree, extent, so much, and comparison. So here we have it as a prefix. Wasa mzinchigan piche nijshi. So wasa, this, mzinchigan, picture. Piche, meaning so. This is the degree or so. Nish, sheer, he is good. So this picture is so good. So that's what we have translated here. This picture is so good. And so when it's used as a prefix, it means the degree or so much. Next, we have a root word variation. So we have Gdo Piten Migol, so you're thought so well of. So Gdo is our extended pronoun for you. And then in root word, instead of piche, it's pit because of the vowel sound following it. So Piten Migol. P10, you were thought of so well. And then ego is just by an unspecified person. So you are thought of so well. So again, it's the degree or so much. Now we have it as a particle form. So Randy Marsh, Nwach, Tom Go, Nish, Peach Dush, Peter Griffin. We have that as Randy Marsh, Nwach, more, Tom Go, very, Nish, good, he or she's good. So we translate it as Randy Marsh is is awesome, more awesome. Peach Dush, than. So this is where we're comparing it. When you use peach as a particle, independent word. So Peach Dush, Peter Griffin. So Randy Marsh is more awesome than Peter Griffin. Next we have k for since, length, times, usually, and used to. So as a prefix in C form, we have ka kuma jiwi snit anene. So that's for our translation since, and could be translated as ever since the man started eating. So ga, C form past tense, k, since, ma ji is a prefix for started, wisne for eating, and then d's are B form or C form suffix for third person singular, anene, the man. So ga koma jiwi snit anene, ever since the man started eating, blah 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 blah. Next we have a prefix in A form. So gikonime acquaisance. So that can mean that's as far as the girl danced. So we're using it for length here. Gikonime acquaisance. Next we have it in root word here. This is subject to change based on how the speakers correct me on this one. I just included this in because it's in other dialects, but I haven't encountered it in Nipissing dialects so far. So in root word, we have 6 foot ndakos. So we have that uk for ako. Remember there was an A sound before, and it's still there. And so when you're talking about the exact length, so 6 feet in dakos, I am 6 feet tall. Next here, we have a particle in A form past tense. So mako gigigon ke anene. So the man used to fish here. Ko in this particle version means used to because of the past tense. And then we have another particle in present tense. So makoisne anene. So the man usually eats here. Or makoisne anene. The man usually eats here. And so we can see here that both particles are present, but what's different is the tense ko plus past tense is used to, and then ko in present tense means usually. Next we have a prefix variation here, and so just to illustrate the difference in meaning, we have ni jing 2 times in giwi sin, I ate, so ni jing and giwi sin, I ate 2 times. But when we use the relative root k in its change form, eko ni jing and giwi sin, eko ni jing the second time, giwi sin, I ate. Nijing 2 times, Eko Nijing the second time. Next we have ch for place of. So for this one here, put ch because I noticed it with some of our verbs in Ojibwe. Other places will have a DZH sound, which sounds like it's reduced to a J sound. And if you'll notice from our sound chart, J's and CH's are relatable sounds, so they're kind of interchangeable. So sometimes you'll hear the CH as a J sound in other dialects and as well as Nipissing. So ma gicha adok shin animush. Ma here, gicha adok shin is where the dog was stuck. Animush, the dog. Ma gicha adok shin animush. So this is talking to the place of, or the place where the dog was stuck or trapped. Next, in prefix form, enchewisning means restaurant or place of eating. Enche is the change form in C form. Enche, place of, wisne, eating. And then that ng suffix is our indefinite actor, meaning unspecified person. So enchewisning, restaurant or place of eating. And here it is in a root word. So we have chi ke gyaknike. She or he is playing to the right. So again, referring to a certain place here. Chi ke, he or she is playing in a certain place. Gyaknike, right direction. Alright, so when does onde mean how, why, when, and where? So since wagnen and wanen can be translated as what and who, it's only natural to think, for learners to think that onde means who, what, when, where, why, and how. So now that we are aware of our relative roots, we have a better understanding of when onde can mean who, what, when, where, why, and how, depending on relative roots present in the form of prefixes or root words built into our verbs that we use. So keep in mind, relative roots usually change our grammar patterns from B form to C form, so we'll often see initial change when relative roots are present. So here I've indicated the point for you to write down for your notes. Please write this down before moving on. Alright, let's move on. So for example, onde plus B form means where, but if a relative root is present, like in the form of a root word, our grammar pattern will change to onde plus C form. So we have onde plus je plus C form means how. So onde, think of that as just a general question word. Je is referring to the manner or how. And so that will be in C form. So how is whatever happening. Onde plus nje in C form means why. So again, question word, nje, reason why, C form. So why is that happening? Why is she or he doing that action? And then we have onde plus je, nje, or che in C form, meaning where is it? So je, where is it directed to? Nje, coming from. Che, happening at, like the source of the happening, the source of the verb. So our 5 W questions and how. So again, write these down, all these in your notes. We have our logo here for that there. So wanen plus C form means who. Wagnen plus C form means what. Onde P plus B form is when, if there is no relative root. And then onde P plus C form is when relative roots are present. So onde je, nje, or che plus C form is where is it. So je is directed to, so where is it happening towards. Onde wenje is where is it coming from? Where is the action coming from? And onde enche, where is the source of the event? Onde plus nje in C form can also mean why, based on context. Onde plus je in C form means how. So we'll give you a chance here to pause here before moving on. All right, let's move on. So when do we use relative roots? So we use relative roots in the form of prefixes, root words, and sometimes particles. So relative roots are used for talking or inquiring about specific characteristics. So inquiring about specifics is when we use our 5W questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Specifics that we couldn't talk about relate to manner, location, either from, towards, or place of, quantity, number of times, and the degree. So they often change our grammar patterns from B form to C form. So I've indicated the points for you to write down for your notes. Please write these down before moving on. All right, let's move on. Miigwech Pasinduayeg, Misae Aja. Thank you all for listening to me, and that's it for now. Chimigwech.